So one superpower which everybody comes across when they are trying out AI, especially in research domain, is that it is very powerful at finding papers, right? Finding relevant papers. We'll go in depth uh, with respect to SciSpace as to how it does when you trigger a peer review workflow, right? So that is the first point. So especially from a reviewer's perspective, it's you know it saves a lot of time and the overload to find out the relevant literature. The second point is, the AI is able to synthesize all of the papers that have been found and look at them from various perspectives, uh, and then generate the feedback reports, right? So it can look at the submission that you have provided, it can look at the relevant papers that are there, and then using all of those real papers which have been already published, it will be able to then generate a structured review for you, right? And then the third point is where it can then collate all of these three or four or five different reviewers' perspectives and then generate a meta review, which will not be very generic. It will be to the point. It will encompass all the feedback that has been provided by the reviewers, and it will be actionable for the authors. Okay. And in this case, right, the whole discussion that I'm having today, this is in no means saying that the AI process, let it be SciSpace or let it be some other AI tool out there in the market that we would have tried, is going to replace all the stakeholders that are there in the peer review process, right? The author, editor, or the reviewer, right? This is just meant to augment them. This is meant to, reduce the workload that they already have, right? Just help them out, put in a different perspective out there, so let's say from a reviewer's perspective, if they are trying to do a literature search, this is to help them get the initial set of papers, or if they have the initial set of papers, maybe tell them that, okay, these are the 5 or 10 papers that your initial set doesn't have, right? So this helps in certain bits and pieces and augments the current process that is there, right? So each stakeholder is supposed to, like, whoever, from whichever perspective you are trying to use the peer review process, either from reviewer, editor, or author perspective, this is meant to help you, not to finally get the work done which is supposed to be done by human in the peer review process. Okay, so I'll take you through a peer review that I recently did on SciSpace, right? So there was a interesting paper uh, that was out there. So all the rage right now is about how to use LLMs, right? And how to improve the output that you get from an LLM, right? So this was a paper which was published recently in December last year. And the argument of the paper is that if you are saying something to a non-reasoning LLM, which are non-thinking models uh, in LLMs, right? If you repeat the prompt, it will improve the quality of the output. Let's say if you ask the AI, write a summary of, the latest research in, let's say climate change. Instead of saying it once, if you say it twice back to back, the quality of the summary will improve. So that is the whole argument of this paper. This paper is 12 pages long. Uh, so the content of the paper is only 3 pages, and after that it is references, appendix, and some custom tasks, right? So it's a short paper, and this paper is what I have used to demonstrate how SciSpace does peer review. Okay, so all you have to do is, ask in plain language to conduct your peer review, right? There is no special requirement. You don't have to select a particular agent or anything. You just go to scispace.com, go to the agent that is there on the homepage, and ask you to do peer review, right? The agent is very smart enough to trigger the peer review workflow that we have built, right? So that nobody has to know like special prompting technique or anything to trigger the peer review workflow, right? It will straight away trigger it. And then the submission that you have, right? It can be either in PDF, it might be in doc, it might be in text file, whatever format it is, it will be able to accept all the formats that you have and understand the content that is there inside it, right? So let's go through like what it has done. Uh, so it says that it is starting the peer review process, and the step one is parsing and analyzing the paper, right? What is actually there in the paper? What is the content in the paper, right? Since this is a PDF that I have uploaded, it parsed the PDF. It actually pulled out all the content that is there in the PDF, right? So this is the first part. It read whatever is there in this PDF so that it understands what exactly is written, and then it pulled out the bibliographic information that is there in the PDF, right? So what is the title, what's the author, and certain things about this particular paper, right? Then coming to the second part, right? So which is where we're discussing how AI assists in the review process, right? Retrieving relevant papers, right? So this is where SciSpace like really shines. Okay. So depending on like what is the content of the paper, the agent is able to figure out what are the relevant queries that I should fire on various other databases. So, for example, it fired 6 different queries. So, this is the most number of queries that we fire in any workflow, right? So, it fired 6 different queries on SciSpace database from different perspectives to find out all the relevant papers related to this question, right? And each result that we get from SciSpace has up to 100 papers, right? So this is 100 papers. So each one of them will have like 100 papers out there. Then, other than SciSpace, it queried the SciSpace full text database as well, right? So all the papers for which we have the full text available. So it again queried all of these databases from 6 different perspectives, right? If you have uploaded any papers in your SciSpace library, it would try to find them as well. Then, not leaving out Google Scholar as well, right? So it tries to find out papers from Google Scholar as well. If there is something which is already published on Archive, it will try to find that as well. And since this topic is not related to the topics for which result papers are already published on PubMed, right? It chose not to query PubMed. So depending on what your topic is, it chooses the right databases and calls them. Okay. Once it has found out all the papers from all of these databases, is where it is going to re-rank all of these papers, right? So it is trying to find out which papers are actually relevant to this particular topic, right? And it re-ranked 657 papers. As a human, it is very difficult to find out 600 papers which are relevant to a topic, go through all of them, and find out which ones are the ones which are relevant to the particular topic of this submission, right? So AI actually does a really, really good job of doing this particular step, right? And uh, this is where like it gives you a relevance score, uh, why, and it gives you a reasoning of why this relevance score is relevant, right? So as a reviewer, you can then skim through like all of these papers which it has found out, and pick and choose and read the ones which you find are relevant. Okay. Uh, then coming to the next part, right, which is the novelty assessment. So to do the novelty assessment, what we have already done is we have done the literature search. So this part is already clear. So we did the comprehensive literature search of this particular topic. Then we'll come to the novelty evaluation. So to understand whether this particular research that has been done is genuinely novel or not, you'll have to skim through all the research that has happened in the past, right? This is the next step of the peer review workflow that is there on uh, SciSpace, right? So it is going to extract insights from these papers, as to what exactly is present in this paper. It will take another look at it and then write a novelty report. And from the executive summary, if you read the executive summary, it is very clear. It has made a bold, it has written in bold the key finding, which is that no prior work explicitly evaluates repeating the entire prompt multiple times as a performance improvement technique. So just within minutes, you will get a sense that how novel this idea is, right? So this completely transforms the traditional peer review process, right? And this is not just for the reviewer who is there in this whole peer review process. It is also for the authors to, evaluate whether, what does the SciSpace AI has to say about their submission, right? Whether it finds it actually novel or not, right? And then to justify whether why it has said that is actually novel, it then gives you, examples as to why it says that, right? So it says that across 657 papers, it didn't find any precedent. And why is it distinct from the existing techniques that are out there, right? Then it goes into relationships to existing prompt engineering literature. So there has been a lot of publications out there, and this is a very fast moving field, right? Prompt engineering. So it goes on to talks about like how the existing prompt techniques are different from the one that is mentioned in this paper, right? uh, and then it goes out to talk about different other things, and then the second section is about positioning, as to like how does this research position when compared to the current research that has already been published, right? Yeah, so it gives a very detailed report on like why it finds this idea novel, right? And what is the impact of this particular research idea, right? And it ends with limitations and open questions, and comparison with existing models, right? Then, okay, we'll move on to the next step here, uh, which is the pain point that we talked about, right? As a to as a reviewer, you have to look it from various different perspectives, right? So in SciSpace, by default, the peer review AI looks it from three different perspectives, right? So the reviewer one evaluates the methods and theory. The reviewer 2 evaluates experiments and practical impact. And reviewer 3 will evaluate it from clarity and positioning perspective. Okay. So whenever we take the submission and we uh, run the AI model on top of it, we run it independently three different times with from three different perspectives, so that the perspectives that these reviewers are looking at doesn't get mixed up, right? So they are totally independent and they are giving their opinion uh, three times independently, but from a different perspective. So we'll go to this particular flow where it has started. It wrote the reviewer reports, right? So it wrote three independent reports with different expertise focus, right? So this is the feedback from reviewer one, right? So it will start with the summary and will start with the score, right? Uh, it will justify why it has given a soundness score of 3 out of 5, right? And since this is a low score, you'll find a lot of critical weaknesses that it does mention, right? So whatever are the strengths will justify 3 score it has provided them, and whatever are the critical weaknesses in the technical soundness, right? So it goes on to explain what all weaknesses are there to justify the score that it has given, right? And then the second point is about presentation, right? So for presentation also it has given 3 out of 5. It has mentioned clearly that the strength of the paper is concise and easy to read. So we saw that it was only 3 pages long, right? And it has like all of the figures and all, right? And the core idea is very clear. So even somebody like me who is a non-researcher was able to understand like what exactly is the idea that is being presented, right? Then it again, for like to justify the score, it gives the all the weaknesses as well, right? Uh, then coming to the contribution point, it has the score given for contribution as well, right? Like how does this research contribute to the existing field, right? So where it has also given 3 out of 5. Uh, yeah, and then it wraps up the review with strengths, weaknesses, and suggestions, right? Like what are the suggestions from this perspective by this reviewer, right? Uh, and as a reviewer, if you have to mock from a reviewer's perspective, what questions would they ask back to the author? It has mentioned all of those questions as well. And the final rating, right? So based on all the criteria that it defined earlier and it gave a score, it gives you a final rating as well. So and a recommendation as well, right? So for this particular uh, paper, it says that it's a weak reject with a score of 5 out of 10. And it sums up the justification from all the above content and the key reasons, because of which this should be rejected, right? And what should be changed in this paper, to get acceptance. And this confidence score is also very important, right? Saying that it's a rating of 5 out of 10 with a very low confidence is not going to work. The model should have a very high confidence when it is justifying the score, right? So you can say that with a very high confidence, this review should be rejected. Similarly, we have all the other reports from uh, the other two reviewers, right? So this reviewer is looking at it from a experiments and practical impact perspective, right? So it has also given its own summary scores on various factors. Soundness, it says 2 out of 5, presentation 4 out of 5, contribution 3 out of 5, the strengths, weaknesses, and suggestions, right? And it will also give you its own rating and confidence, right? So this reviewer is very, very confident that it should be a reject, right? Not just a weak reject, but it should be a reject. And it has, provided justification for each one of its scores and also for the overall rating that is out there. Similarly, the third reviewer is also going to do the same thing. It is going to look it from a different perspective, which is clarity positioning perspective, and it is going to give its own scores. And looks like this reviewer is also not very happy with the submission, and the score that it finally gives is 5 out of 10. So it is weak reject and again weak reject, right? And this is also from a very high confidence perspective. So one thing to notice here is that all the three reviewers follow the very same pattern to review the content. Even though the perspective is very different, the structure of the review is very similar, right? Which is not really true when humans are providing their review, right? They may have their own structure which might be very conflicting, but these review reports are very easy to read, right? You know exactly. So let's say you are trying to improve from the presentation perspective. You know that all three reviewers would have given you some feedback, some score on the presentation perspective, right? So this makes it very easy to understand these reviewer reports, right? Coming to the next part, which is meta review and the final decision, which editor has to take, right? So there will be areas of agreement across all the three reviewers. There will be areas of disagreement across all three reviewers. Uh, Editor has to go through all of them and figure out, okay, which is the aspect where all three of them agree, which is the aspect where all three of them disagree. Prepare a meta review on top of it, and then all the reviewers will have some conflicting opinion about what to do about this paper, whether you should accept or reject. And all the three reviewers would have given their suggestions on like what is the path to get this accepted, what should be changed in this submission to get it publication ready, right? So as a editor, they have a very a difficult task to combine all of these review reports and make a final meta review that can be passed on to the author, right? For improvement and resubmission. So coming to like what SciSpace AI is doing, right? For this perspective. So it understands the input for this particular step are the all three reviewer reports. It goes through all the three of them and it finds out all the four factors that we were discussing about, right? So it writes an overview and a summary of reviewer uh, uh, assessments, and coming to the crucial points, like what are the areas of agreements among the reviewers, right? What are the areas of disagreements across all the reviewers, right? Then strengths and weaknesses. What is the final decision that the meta review is going to take, right? So it is reject in this case, and a prioritized list of uh, revisions that the author should be doing, right? So, and why prioritization is very important is because as a author you don't want to be bombarded with all the revisions that should be done, right? So you need to understand like which uh, revision is most important, right? So it prioritizes according to that. Yeah, but so it's quite detailed summary of like what authors have said, right? Okay. Now, coming to the point which I briefly touched upon earlier as well, right? So we know that like SciSpace AI or any other AI reviewer out there, right, who which helps you with peer review is going to, uh, reduce the time drastically, right? But that doesn't take, away the human aspect of the peer review, right? It is very, very important that you look at AI peer review from a perspective of assistance, but not from a perspective of replacement. Okay. It helps each stakeholder in the journey. It helps the authors, it helps the editors, it helps the reviewers, but it helps, not replaces, right? So even though I'm the one who has been working on this project, I want to make it very clear out there and be very transparent about this, right? Uh, then I want to be very, put out something which is not very evident from the workflow which I just showed you, right? Even though the AI peer review workflow says that it's a reject, right? This is not the tool that you should be making to make a final go or no go decision, right? It can give you a perspective, but this is not the sole reason because of which something should be rejected, right? Uh, there is no plagiarism detector in this. We don't try to find out whether the content is AI generated, especially I'm just talking about the peer review workflow, whether the content is AI generated or there is plagiarism in it, right? Uh, yeah, again, like touching on the same topic that, you know, uh, no human, there should be a human judgment when making it, uh, when making a decision, right? And a lot of reviewers have this question, or a lot of the users of SciSpace have this question because they are submitting their manuscript to SciSpace and asking it to conduct a peer review, right? Uh, they want to be sure that this data is not used to train model, right? And at SciSpace, we go to that extra step where we don't use any of your uh, submissions to train any models at SciSpace. And all the submissions that you make to SciSpace are private to you. They are not exposed to any other users on the platform. So I just want to make it abundantly clear out there. If you have any doubts regarding the security measures that we take, uh, let there be no doubt about it. Uh, yeah. Uh, yes. So I think that would be the end of like what I wanted to put out uh, to the audience out there.